Welcome to Crafted Nest, a corner where everyday simplicity meets the quiet wonders of nature. Here, we believe that beauty doesn't always come from expensive tools or chemical solutions. It can be born from the gentle gifts already in your kitchen. Today, I will take you through 20 extraordinary ways to propagate roses naturally, using items as humble as tomato, potato, honey, and even banana peel. Each idea is crafted not only to root faster, but also to bring joy to the heart of gardening. As you watch, imagine your own roses stretching new roots, nourished by what others may discard, and blooming more vibrant than ever. This is more than just a guide. It's an invitation to rediscover the harmony between home and garden, between care and creation. If this journey inspires you, I warmly invite you to subscribe to Crafted Nest. Every click of that button is like planting another seed of creativity, helping us grow together as we share more stories, more ideas, and more living beauty. Let's begin. When you wander into a quiet garden at dawn, you will notice that life often thrives in the simplest of places. The same is true for roses. To help them take root, you don't always need expensive powders or complicated tools. Sometimes, the answer rests quietly in your kitchen. Imagine this: a ripe tomato, its flesh glowing with rich nutrients, blended with a spoonful of golden honey. Together, they create what I like to call a tomato elixir, a humble but powerful tonic for new beginnings. Tomatoes are filled with natural auxins, a plant hormone that whispers to the stem, "It's time to grow roots." Honey adds its touch of sweetness, carrying enzymes that protect the tender cuttings from hidden dangers like fungus and rot. Place your rose cutting gently into this mixture and let it soak for a little while. The garden may seem still, but inside that glass of red, life is preparing its quiet miracle. When the cutting is ready, transfer it into soft sand or coconut fiber and water it lightly with the remaining tomato elixir. You may not see the change overnight, but after a few weeks of patience, white roots will stretch downward while fresh green shoots reach for the sun. This technique is more than gardening. It is a reminder that even leftovers from our kitchen, something as ordinary as a tomato, can hold the power to create life. And when you see a rose finally bloom, you'll realize that beauty often grows fastest when nourished with love, care, and a touch of nature's simple gifts. In the heart of every kitchen lies a secret treasure. What many see as waste can actually become a gift for growth. Carrot peels, thin and delicate, often thrown aside, carry within them a quiet strength. Rich in potassium, calcium, and vitamin C, they can nourish life in its earliest and most fragile form. When roses are just cuttings, seeking their first roots, carrot peels can be the gentle hand that guides them. Begin by gathering the peels, letting their bright orange colors remind you of Earth's energy stored within. Chop them finely and place them in a jar of clean water. A spoonful of honey swirled and completes the tonic, turning it into a golden orange elixir that hums with vitality. Submerge your rose cuttings gently, letting them drink from this infusion of nutrients for a few hours. As they rest, imagine the carrot's minerals seeping into the stems, encouraging cells to divide, roots to form, and life to take hold. Once soaked, nestle the cuttings into moist sand or coconut fiber, their tips still carrying the strength absorbed from the tonic. In time, tiny white roots will emerge, strong enough to anchor and delicate enough to inspire awe. This process is more than a method, it's a meditation on renewal. Carrot peels, once forgotten, now become the bridge between a fading stem and a thriving rose. In every new leaf that appears, you will see a story of transformation, a gentle reminder that nothing in nature is truly wasted. And when your roses bloom, their fragrance will carry whispers of patience, care, and the humble peel that gave them life. There is something quietly magical about a potato. Beneath its humble skin, it carries a reserve of starch, vitamins, and moisture. everything a young plant needs in its earliest days. When a rose cutting is tender, seeking both protection and nourishment, placing it inside a potato creates a cradle of life. Begin with a healthy potato, firm and fresh. With a gentle hand, carve a small hole in its center. Take your rose cutting, trimmed at a clean angle, and dip its tip in garlic juice or salt water to guard against unseen bacteria. Then, slip it into the potato's hollow, where natural starches and vitamin C will embrace the stem like a quiet shield. The potato does more than just hold the cutting. It becomes a reservoir of food and water, releasing its hidden strength little by little. Place the potato with its rose into a pot filled with clean, porous sand. Water lightly, letting the grains of sand keep the air flowing while the potato sustains the tender stem. Days will pass, and at first, all seems still. Yet within the potato's soft walls, roots begin to stir. They push outward, white and delicate, carrying with them the promise of new life. Above the soil, small green buds awaken, stretching toward the sun. This method is a lesson in generosity. From something so ordinary, a miracle unfolds. The potato, once destined for a kitchen meal, now becomes the nurse of a rose. And as the plant grows strong, you'll carry with you the reminder that beauty often blooms when the simplest gifts of nature are given with patience and care. Every cut carries both promise and vulnerability. When we prepare a rose cutting, the fresh wound at its base opens not only a doorway for roots to grow, but also a chance for infection to creep in. Here, turmeric steps forward, golden, earthy, and ancient in its wisdom. For centuries, turmeric has been known as nature's healer, soothing both people and plants with its antibacterial touch. To begin, take your rose cutting, trimmed carefully at a diagonal. As you look at its fresh wound, dip it gently into a small dish of turmeric powder. The bright yellow dust clings to the stem like a protective cloak, sealing the wound and shielding it from rot and disease. This simple act is both practical and symbolic, the beginning of healing before the journey of growth. Place the treated cutting into a pot of loose sand or coconut fiber. The turmeric not only guards against hidden threats, but also encourages the stem to focus its strength on creating roots. In the days that follow, the plant rests in quiet safety, the golden powder working silently while you water sparingly and wait with patience. Weeks later, when white roots finally appear, you will know that turmeric's gift was more than prevention. It was a blessing of resilience. Each new bud and every fresh leaf will carry within it the memory of that first moment of care when a golden powder protected its fragile beginning. This practice is a gentle reminder. Healing is the first step to thriving. And with something as simple as turmeric, you can turn a vulnerable stem into a strong and living rose. In the quiet simplicity of sand lies an unexpected gift. Many would see it only as grains beneath their feet, yet for a rose cutting, pure sand becomes both bed and guardian. With its airy texture and effortless drainage, sand offers young roots exactly what they need: space to breathe, space to grow, and freedom from the suffocating grip of excess water. Begin with a pot filled with clean, fine sand. Let your hands feel its dryness, light and flowing, like the breath of the earth itself. When you place the rose cutting into this bed, bury it just a few centimeters deep, ensuring its dormant buds remain above the surface, waiting for their chance to awaken. The sand, though humble, protects against rot by allowing water to pass freely, keeping only the moisture needed for life. Each day, water gently, not too much, not too little, just enough to keep the sand softly damp. This balance is the key, for in sand, the roots must search, stretch, and strengthen themselves. Over the weeks, you will begin to notice new signs. White roots weaving through the grains, small green shoots lifting toward the sun. The beauty of this method lies in its clarity. Nothing artificial, nothing heavy, just sand, stem, water, and patience. It is proof that sometimes the simplest path is the most profound. And when those roses finally flourish, you will remember how something as ordinary as sand carried within it the power to nurture life. In the stillness of your garden, you will see that the rose and the sand together tell a quiet truth. Growth is born not only of richness, but also of simplicity. Sometimes, nature provides us with the softest cradle in the most unexpected form. Coconut fiber, once the rough husk of a fruit, becomes tender when prepared for planting. For a rose cutting, this fiber is like a warm blanket, holding moisture, breathing easily, and offering a gentle cushion for fragile roots to begin their journey. Start by blending coconut fiber with sand or loose soil. Its lightness allows air to weave through, while its natural absorbency keeps just enough water to nourish young roots without drowning them. Place your rose cutting into this mixture, pressing the fibers gently around the stem. It feels almost as though the plant is being tucked into bed, secure and comforted. As days pass, the fiber slowly releases the water it holds, providing steady hydration. Unlike heavy soil, it never suffocates. Instead, it encourages roots to stretch and explore, weaving themselves confidently through the strands. In this quiet partnership, coconut fiber becomes both a shield and a source of strength. Soon, you will notice signs of growth. Tender white roots wrapping around the fibers, green buds swelling with promise. Each new leaf that unfurls carries the memory of this nurturing start. The rose, once just a cutting, finds its first stability in the embrace of something humble, discarded, yet deeply generous. This method reminds us of a simple truth. Beauty thrives not in struggle, but in care. Coconut fiber teaches us that even what seems rough and forgotten can cradle life with gentleness. And when your rose finally blooms, you will know that its first strength came from the quiet softness of nature's own hands. Every new beginning requires a little protection. When you cut a rose stem, its fresh wound is vulnerable, an open doorway for hidden threats like bacteria and fungi. Before the journey of rooting begins, the cutting must be gently cleansed and strengthened, and here, a simple salt solution becomes its first guardian. Prepare a glass of clean water and dissolve just a pinch of salt. It is important that the solution is mild, like a soft breeze rather than a storm. Too much salt would harm the tender tissue, but the right balance washes away invisible dangers. Place the rose cutting into the solution and let it rest for an hour or two. During this time, the salt works silently, purifying the stem and sealing tiny openings against infection. This ritual may seem small, yet it lays the foundation for resilience. When the cutting is later planted into sand, coconut fiber, or even a potato base, it carries with it the quiet strength of that first cleansing. The roots emerge not in fear, but in safety, ready to embrace the soil and reach for water. As days pass, you will notice the difference. No dark rot, no mold creeping along the stem, only steady growth. This gentle step reminds us that care often begins not with abundance, but with caution. Just as we wash our hands before sharing a meal, we cleanse the rose before giving it a chance to live. When at last the rose blooms, its beauty will be more than petals and fragrance. It will be a story of protection, patience, and the simple kindness of salt and water. In every spoonful of honey lies the wisdom of nature. Gathered by bees from countless blossoms, honey carries more than sweetness. It holds enzymes, minerals, and quiet strength. For a rose cutting, honey is not just nourishment, but a shield and a guide, helping tender stems take their first step toward life. Begin by stirring a spoonful of honey into a cup of clean water. The golden liquid dissolves slowly, its warmth spreading like sunlight across the glass. Place the cut end of the rose stem into this mixture and allow it to rest. As it soaks, honey's natural enzymes whisper encouragement, protecting the stem from decay while awakening the silent urge to root. When planted afterward in sand or coconut fiber, The cutting carries within it the memory of this golden bath. Roots begin to push forward, stronger and healthier, reaching out with quiet determination. Above the soil, buds swell and leaves unfurl, each one a reflection of the gentle start it received. Honey's role here is more than science. It is poetry. The same sweetness that flavors our tea and soothes our throats becomes a lifeline for new growth. It is as if the energy of countless flowers has returned, concentrated, to help another blossom rise. This method teaches us something beautiful, that life can be revived not with force, but with kindness. And when your rose blooms, you will feel as though the fragrance carries not just the scent of petals, but the echo of honey's golden touch, gentle, healing, and full of quiet hope. A young cutting, freshly planted, is like a child in its first days, delicate, easily swayed by the harshness of the world. What it needs most is shelter, a space where warmth and moisture gather like gentle hands holding it close. With something as simple as a clear plastic cup or a cut bottle, you can create this sanctuary, a tiny greenhouse made at home. Place the cup upside down over the rose cutting, its transparent walls allowing light to pass while trapping soft humidity inside. Tiny holes punctured into the plastic breathe just enough air to prevent mold, while still keeping the atmosphere moist and warm. Within this small dome, the cutting finds its comfort. Moisture no longer vanishes too quickly, and the air around the stem feels steady and protective. Each morning, as sunlight touches the plastic, tiny droplets of condensation form and slide down the walls. They are nature's quiet reminder that inside, life is stirring. The rose, once vulnerable, begins to send roots into the sand below, confident in the safety of its shelter. After a few weeks, you may lift the cup to find white roots spreading with courage and fresh leaves pushing upward. The transformation is quiet but profound, a fragile cutting growing stronger, simply because it was given a safe beginning. This practice is a story of care. With nothing more than a plastic cup, something often discarded, you create a world where roses can take their first breath of life. It is proof that protection, even in the smallest form, nurtures resilience and beauty. Sometimes, the simplest household habit carries within it a quiet secret of growth. Rice water, the cloudy liquid left after rinsing rice, holds gentle nourishment that roses can embrace. What many pour away without thought can become a gift of strength for tender cuttings seeking their first roots. Begin by rinsing rice in clean water, watching the grains release their soft white starch into the liquid. Instead of discarding it, collect this water and let it settle. Inside, nutrients like potassium, magnesium, and small traces of nitrogen wait, ready to serve as a tonic. Place your rose cuttings into this infusion and let them rest for a short while, drinking from what was once seen as waste. The rice water acts as a gentle stimulant. It does not overwhelm the cutting, but whispers encouragement, offering minerals to support the division of cells and the forming of roots. Once soaked, plant the stems in sand or coconut fiber, watering lightly with the same rice water. The soil seems to glow softer, enriched by the liquid's natural touch. Over days and weeks, the roots respond, white, fine, and eager, threading through the grains of sand. Above, new leaves unfurl slowly, their green brighter, their texture softer. The cutting, once fragile, begins to stand firm, guided by the quiet help of rice water. This practice carries a lesson that nothing should be wasted, for even what seems ordinary may hold unseen power. Rice water reminds us that nourishment is often found in simplicity. And when the rose blooms, it will whisper of humble beginnings, fed not by chemicals, but by the gentle offering of a grain that sustains life in so many forms. In the cool flesh of an aloe vera leaf lies a secret as old as the desert. Clear, soothing, and rich with life, its gel has long been a healer, for burns, for skin, for wounds. But for roses, This same gift becomes a silent teacher, guiding fragile cuttings to root with strength and grace. Take a plump aloe vera leaf and slice it open, revealing the shimmering gel within. Its texture feels like morning dew held together, soft and pure. Dip the cut end of your rose stem into this gel, letting it cling gently to the surface. The aloe offers more than moisture. It carries natural hormones that awaken cells, telling them it is time to divide, to push outward, to grow roots. You may also blend the gel into a smooth liquid and place your cuttings inside, where they can bathe in its natural tonic. Later, when the stems are planted into sand or coconut fiber, the aloe continues its quiet work, keeping infections away and encouraging growth from within. As the days pass, new roots emerge, strong and white, threading confidently through the soil. Above the earth, tender leaves unfurl, carrying the freshness of aloe's gift in every shade of green. This method is more than gardening. It is a reminder of nature's generosity. Aloe, which thrives even in harsh conditions, shares its resilience with the rose, offering not only protection but the will to thrive. And when your rose finally blossoms, its petals will seem to carry a hidden glow, a quiet echo of the gel that once cradled its fragile beginning. Banana peels, so often tossed aside, carry within them a treasure unseen. Rich in potassium, phosphorus, and calcium, they are nature's quiet storehouse of strength. For roses just beginning their journey as cuttings, banana peels can be transformed into a tonic that awakens life and fortifies fragile roots. Begin by chopping the peels into small pieces, releasing their sweetness and soft fibers. Place them into a jar of clean water, or blend them into a smooth infusion. As the liquid deepens in color, nutrients seep into the water, ready to be shared. Dip your rose cuttings into this mixture and let them drink its strength for an hour or two before planting. Alternatively, you can place shredded banana peels directly into the soil where your cuttings will grow. As the peels decompose, they slowly release their richness, offering minerals that roots eagerly absorb. The soil becomes more than earth. It becomes a banquet of nourishment, alive with organic energy. Over time, the cutting responds. Roots push outward with greater confidence, leaves stretch wider, and buds swell with promise. All of this, nurtured by what was once dismissed as waste. The story of banana peels is a story of renewal, of finding value in what is forgotten. They remind us that growth does not always come from expensive tonics, but from the overlooked gifts already in our hands. And when your roses bloom in deep colors and vibrant health, you will see in each petal the proof that nothing in nature is ever truly lost. Even what we discard can become the very foundation of beauty. There is a refreshing coolness in every cucumber, a quiet gift of hydration and calm. When the summer sun is strong, cucumber slices soothe our bodies with water and minerals. And for a rose cutting, cucumber extract becomes more than refreshment. It is a gentle lifeline, easing its first fragile steps toward growth. Begin by slicing a cucumber into pieces, its crisp scent filling the air with freshness. Blend or soak the slices in clean water, creating a pale green infusion rich in natural moisture, silica, and vitamins. Place your rose cuttings into this solution and let them drink deeply. The liquid acts as a tonic, not only quenching their thirst, but also strengthening their tender tissues from within. Afterward, plant the cuttings into soft sand or coconut fiber, watering lightly with the same cucumber extract. The roots, still new and uncertain, find themselves nourished by a steady flow of gentle hydration. Day by day, the cutting grows firmer, leaves hold their shine longer, and the first signs of new life begin to appear. This method is as soothing as it is effective. Just as cucumber cools the body on a warm afternoon, it offers roses the same peace, balancing moisture and health. There is no harshness, no struggle, only calm encouragement, as if nature itself were whispering, "Grow, but grow gently." When your rose finally blooms, Each petal will seem fresher, its fragrance carrying a note of quiet clarity. The cucumber's cool essence lingers in the story of its growth, reminding us that sometimes the most delicate beginnings flourish best under tender, refreshing care. Every morning, the aroma of coffee drifts through kitchens, awakening people with its warmth and energy. Yet, when the last sip is gone and the grounds are discarded, a secret treasure remains. Those dark grains, humble and often unseen, carry within them the power to nourish life again. For roses, coffee grounds become a quiet companion, enriching their path towards strength. Begin with used coffee grounds, cooled and dried. Their texture is soft, their color deep like fertile earth. Mix them gently into loose soil or coconut fiber, creating a blend that offers nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, minerals that roses crave for their roots and leaves. As you tuck the rose cutting into this mixture, it feels as though you are giving it both shelter and a feast. Coffee grounds also help the soil stay airy, preventing compaction while retaining gentle moisture. Over time, they break down slowly, releasing nutrients little by little, in harmony with the rose's needs. Above the soil, the cutting grows greener, its leaves broadening, its shoots rising more confidently toward the sun. This practice is not only about feeding the plant, it is about renewal. What once gave us comfort in a morning cup now continues its journey, offering strength to another life. Each time you see new leaves unfolding or buds forming, you will be reminded of this quiet cycle: energy transformed, beauty sustained. When your rose finally blooms, its fragrance will mingle with the memory of coffee's warmth. And in its petals, you will see a story written in soil and grounds, a tale of second chances, of how even what seems spent can become a foundation for new beginnings. There is a calmness in green tea, a quiet strength hidden within its pale leaves. We sip it for its freshness, its clarity, its gentle way of cleansing the spirit. Yet for roses, green tea offers something more: a natural shield, a subtle boost, and a tender hand guiding fragile cuttings toward life. Begin by brewing a simple cup of green tea, light and clear. Let it cool, then pour the liquid into a glass or bowl. Place the cut ends of your rose stems into this infusion, letting them rest for a while. The tea, rich with antioxidants and gentle tannins, works silently, protecting the stems from hidden bacteria while coaxing cells to awaken and divide. Once the soaking is complete, plant the cuttings into sand or coconut fiber, watering them lightly with the remaining tea. Over time, the natural compounds within the tea continue to nurture the soil, reducing the risk of fungal growth and keeping the environment clean. The cutting, once vulnerable, begins to settle in with quiet confidence. Days turn into weeks, and roots begin to stretch downward, delicate and white. Above the soil, new leaves unfurl with a brightness that feels like the freshness of morning itself. All of this, encouraged by a drink we often reserve only for ourselves. This practice is a gentle reminder that what heals us can also heal the plants we love. Green tea, calming to the body and kind to the earth, becomes a bridge between our daily rituals and the silent growth in the garden. And when your rose blooms, it will carry within its fragrance a note of serenity, born from the quiet strength of tea. There is a fire within ginger, a quiet warmth that has long been used to heal and strengthen. Its roots, gnarled and humble, carry antibacterial power and a subtle energy that awakens life. For roses, ginger becomes more than a spice. It becomes a protector, a guide that ensures fragile cuttings grow with resilience. Begin by slicing fresh ginger and simmering it briefly in clean water. Let the golden liquid cool, its scent filling the air with a sharp yet comforting fragrance. Place your rose cuttings into this infusion, letting the stems soak for a short while. The ginger works silently, guarding the tender tissues against hidden bacteria while infusing them with natural stimulants that encourage rooting. After soaking, Plant the stems in sand or coconut fiber and water them lightly with the remaining ginger tea. The soil, now enriched with this simple infusion, becomes a safer, more balanced environment for roots to spread. Slowly, the cuttings begin to respond, first with small signs of health, then with confident roots pushing outward and leaves unfurling above. This method is a reminder of the strength found in small things. Just as ginger warms the body on a cold day, it warms the spirit of a young plant, giving it courage to thrive. It is nature's quiet way of saying, protection and growth can come from the same place. When at last your rose blooms, its fragrance will mingle with the memory of ginger's fire, a story of protection, vitality, and the unseen strength that rises from the earth itself. What many discard without thought, the thin, papery layers of an onion, hide a quiet treasure. Onion skins, golden and fragile, are rich in potassium and antioxidants. For roses, these forgotten pieces become a tonic of renewal, strengthening their roots and protecting them from hidden threats. To prepare, gather the skins from onions and simmer them gently in water. The liquid will turn a warm amber, carrying with it minerals and compounds that nurture life. Once cooled, this infusion becomes a gentle bath for your rose cuttings. Place the stems inside and let them rest, as if drinking from a secret spring prepared just for them. After soaking, plant the cuttings in sand or coconut fiber and water them with the remaining tonic. The infusion lingers in the soil, feeding the young roots with steady nutrients. Over the days, the difference becomes clear. Roots appear stronger, leaves grow greener, and the cuttings carry a quiet vigor as they rise toward the light. This method is more than just gardening. It is a lesson in noticing value where others see none. Onion skins, so often discarded, hold the power to give life. They remind us that nothing in nature is wasted, and even what seems insignificant can become a foundation for beauty. When your rose blooms at last, it will stand not only as a flower but as a story. That hidden strength lies in humble things, and with care, the forgotten can awaken miracles. The petals will carry this quiet truth, glowing with the resilience gifted by the onion's delicate skin. The fragile shell of an egg, so easily broken, carries within it the quiet strength of calcium. What we often throw away after a meal can become a hidden gift for the garden, a mineral-rich offering that strengthens the roots of tender cuttings. For roses, eggshells ground into powder become a shield of resilience, helping them grow firm and steady. Begin by collecting eggshells, rinsing them clean, and letting them dry. Crush them finely until they turn into a soft white powder. As you hold it in your palm, it feels almost like chalk, delicate, yet filled with strength. Mix this powder into the soil or sand where your rose cuttings will be planted. The calcium enriches the earth, guiding roots to form with more stability and guarding against rot. When the cuttings rest in this enriched soil, they find themselves surrounded by more than just earth. They are given a foundation strong enough to support their journey, allowing them to grow without weakness. Over the weeks, you will notice their leaves holding a deeper green, their stems standing taller, and their roots weaving firmly into the ground. This practice is a reminder that strength is not always loud. Sometimes it is hidden in the most fragile of forms, the thin shell of an egg, now reborn as a source of life. It teaches us that even in what seems broken, there lies a chance to create renewal. And when your rose blossoms, its beauty will carry within it the quiet story of eggshells, fragile beginnings transformed into the steady foundation of growth, a whisper of resilience in every petal. Molasses, the dark golden syrup left after sugar is refined, holds within it a sweetness richer than taste alone. Thick, earthy, and full of minerals, it carries the quiet energy of the sun captured in sugarcane. For roses just beginning as fragile cuttings, molasses water becomes a gentle fuel, a slow and steady source of life. To begin, stir a small spoonful of molasses into clean water. Watch as the liquid turns golden brown, the syrup dissolving into a soft sweetness that hums with calcium, iron, and potassium. Place your rose cuttings into this mixture, letting them rest for a while. The sugar provides energy for the cells, while the minerals whisper encouragement to the tender tissues forming their first roots. Later, plant the cuttings into sand or coconut fiber, watering lightly with the same molasses solution. The soil, kissed with sweetness, nourishes the stems without harshness. Over the days, you will notice roots pushing outward with strength, leaves unfurling with greater shine, and buds swelling with quiet determination. This method carries a story of generosity. From something once considered a leftover, roses find energy to awaken and thrive. It is proof that nature's gifts often arrive in simple, unexpected forms. Just as molasses sweetens bread or tea, it sweetens the beginning of life for your plants, providing not a rush of force, but a steady hand of nourishment. And when your rose blooms, its petals will carry the memory of that gentle sweetness. Each flower will stand as a reminder that growth is not only about soil and water, but also about the hidden strength found in nature's quiet syrups. Charcoal, blackened and silent, often reminds us of fire long gone. Yet within its ash-dark grains lies a gift of preservation and purity. For roses, charcoal dust becomes more than a simple additive. It is a guardian of the soil, a natural ally that protects tender cuttings from decay while offering balance and breath to their new roots. Begin by crushing clean charcoal into a fine powder. Its texture is soft, its color deep as midnight. Mix a small amount into sand or loose soil before placing your rose cuttings inside. Charcoal's porous nature absorbs excess moisture, keeping the environment fresh and dry, while at the same time allowing air to flow freely around the developing roots. As days pass, the charcoal continues its quiet work. It prevents harmful fungi from creeping in, neutralizes toxins that may linger in the soil, and offers essential trace minerals. The cuttings, no longer threatened by rot, begin to grow steadily. Roots weave through the grains with ease, while above the earth, small buds appear, their green brighter, their texture firmer. This practice is as old as earth itself. Charcoal, born from fire, returns to nurture life, reminding us of nature's endless cycle of renewal. What once seemed like the remains of something finished becomes the foundation of something new. When at last your rose blooms, its strength will carry the memory of the charcoal dust that guarded its first steps. Each petal will shine not only with beauty, but with resilience, proof that from the quiet remnants of fire, life can rise again with grace and power. In our medicine cabinets, there is a simple remedy that can offer a quiet new beginning for a fragile rose cutting. Aspirin, the familiar tablet we reach for to soothe a headache, contains salicylic acid, a compound also found naturally in many plants. For a rose, this acid acts as a gentle stimulant and a powerful protector, encouraging the stem to heal and root with strength. To begin, take 1 aspirin tablet and dissolve it in a cup of clean water. The solution becomes a clear, almost invisible tonic, yet it is filled with unseen power. Place the cut end of your rose stem into this liquid and let it soak for a short while. As it rests, the salicylic acid signals the plant cells to focus on defense and growth, helping to seal the wound and prevent infection. After soaking, plant the cutting into loose sand or coconut fiber and water it lightly with the remaining aspirin solution. The water continues to work in the soil, creating an environment that is less welcoming to harmful fungi and more encouraging for the delicate process of root formation. Over time, roots will emerge, white and healthy, and the cutting will stand firmer, its leaves holding a brighter green. This method is a beautiful reminder that solutions can be found in the most unexpected places. An ordinary tablet, once used to heal a person, now becomes a bridge to new life for a rose. And when your rose finally blooms, it will be a testament to a quiet resilience, nurtured by a simple, yet powerful, gift.